From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is U.S. Farm Report.
Welcome to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. I'm Tyne Morgan, and here's what's in store over the next 60 minutes. From the polar plunge to more snow, livestock producers are bearing the cold.
We had actual temperature of 45 below, which was a record here in Dillon, Montana.
From cattle markets to winter wheat, we'll look at the impact on ag. More of those $20,000 per acre farmland sales coming in. The value of farmland just seems to be on fire.
It is just remarkable how stable this market conditions have been.
Look at those prices be setting up to fall. The new warning signs experts are watching. Plus, a major ag equipment company is teaming up with the world's largest satellite constellation. Could it change the game for farmers? That and more coming up.
U.S. Farm Report, presented by Pioneer. What's next happens when blood, sweat, and tears meet rain, wind, and sun. Pioneer. What's next happens here.
Now for the news. It was a week of snow and extreme cold in many parts of the country, with cattle and cattle production caught up in the storms. Cattle are seeing some impacts on performance, and producers say longer term it will show up in weight and grading losses with more of the same weather in the extended forecast. Plus, there have been marketing disruptions.
I would say the major impact is when you look at logistics. So many auction markets were closed the latter part of last week. We've heard some closures at the beginning of this week.
Tyson Foods on Tuesday announcing it was temporarily scaling back meat packing operations at some U.S. facilities due to the winter blast. It said it was working to fulfill customer orders at other locations. Plus, some pork plants limited operations when USDA inspectors could not make it to work. Nebraska Congressman Mike Flood sent a letter to U.S. Ag Secretary Tom Vilsack after receiving reports of USDA inspectors failing to show up Monday at Tyson's pork production plant in Madison. The continental cold snap has agronomists worried about the winter wheat crop, although it's still too early to know how much winter kill occurred. As you can see, temperatures were anywhere from 5 to nearly 50 below zero, and it occurred January 12th and the 16th. Winter wheat can survive these bitterly cold temperatures if insulated by at least a couple inches of snow. However, in places like Montana, there was very little snow cover leading into the cold snap, and that's causing concerns about the crop in portions of the northern plains.
Temperatures plummeting into the minus 30 to minus 50 degree range. There is certainly some concern for winter kill for that wheat, especially coming off a record warm December.
Rippey says the #1 production state of Kansas, there was good snow cover to blanket the crop there. That should have helped protect it. And the moisture will also improve conditions as the state warms up in the weeks ahead. The record cold weather this week couldn't freeze the enthusiasm Iowa Republicans have for former President Donald Trump. Mr. Trump topping 50% of the vote in Iowa caucus, cementing his position as front runner in the Republican race for president. But the margin between second and third place, that was tight. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis outpacing former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley by a slim margin.
New Hampshire first primary is next Tuesday, a week from now. New Hampshire is different than Iowa. They have more independents. They're less homogenous. I think they'll have more crossovers. I think some more Democrats may come over to vote for a Republican. But it's going to be Nikki Haley's probably only chance remaining to make this a two-person race. She either has to win it or come very close to Trump, who's currently ahead in the polls, I think, by 5 to 6 percentage points in New Hampshire.
Arizona could soon ban lab-grown meat. Two bills have been introduced by two state Republican lawmakers. One would prohibit the sale or production of any cell-cultured animal product for human or animal consumption. Another would put restrictions on how meat alternatives and cell-cultured meats are represented and labeled. A similar measure was introduced a couple months ago in Florida. So far, the FDA has approved 2 companies to sell lab-grown meat using cultivated cells. They are Upside Foods and Good Meat. Italy became the first country to ban the sale of lab-grown meat late last year. John Deere is joining forces with SpaceX. The agreement will provide the Starlink network service to farmers. Deere says the satellite communication system would allow farmers facing rural connectivity challenges to fully leverage precision ag technologies. To activate, John Deere dealers will install a Starlink terminal on compatible machines, along with a modem to connect the machine to the John Deere Operations Center. It will be available in the second half of this year. More cold, more snow. Winter's late arrival is making a splash. We'll have a check of your forecast coming up.